Hello, this is Dr. Craig-Haas, and I am coming to you from Chicago, Illinois. I'm in the airport here at Midway. It's late at night. As you can see, the place is deserted. Cleaning crews cleaning up behind me here. I have a very important lesson that I learned, really insightful kind of example of business brand. Kind of a business brand and customer experience and the interaction of those with emotional intelligence or the absence thereof that I had to share. I've been reading quite a bit about really diving into emotional intelligence recently for my own personal interest purposes, and when I encountered this experience, it just was such an exemplary case that, I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, frankly. So flying from Salt Lake City, Utah, by way of Chicago to Providence tonight, for factors beyond the control of the airline, which I will go nameless because it's not pertinent, they had delays, had to navigate around some storms, so the flight arriving to pick us up in Salt Lake City was delayed. Fine. When we're on the flight, we actually are making great time, and because there's a big tailwind, and they have informed us that actually that some of us who thought we might miss our connections, we might be able to make it, which of course got our hopes up. That was very good news. Unfortunately for us who were trying to get to Providence, and for others who happen to be running through the same gate in the other terminal, the flights had already departed. For the case in Providence flight, the doors just closed moments before our flight landed, maybe 5-10 minutes, I think 5 or 10 minutes, maybe a bit less, than when that other flight was supposed to depart to Providence, and the plane was still outside. You could see it, but the door was closed, and for reasons that are, probably for government security or airline guideline rules reasons, they couldn't let us on. Whatever, that's fine. That's not really what's important, frustrating, but that's not important except for the fact that it creates the scenario for this example. So this company has built up such a great brand around being, very concerned about the customer and the customer experience and being fair to the customer and building goodwill with the customer, that they've boosted the expectations of their brand quite high. And so therefore, when scenarios don't go according to plan and things go wrong, not surprisingly, the customer experience is bad, right? Or it could be. And so in the scenario, many of us are standing in front of the gate, that the door is not closed, and we're trying to figure out how we can get on another flight. And the people behind the counter, who are representatives of the airline, many of them behind there, and they're all working to try to get it done. But one customer who's trying to get to Providence on the same flight I am is just irate. He had his own personal reasons, I'm sure, for why he was so upset. It had nothing to necessarily do with the airline, but the point is that he really was upset and wanted to get on the flight and was starting to demand, I want a refund, I want a hotel, I want, asking for things and yelling, but he's getting progressively more and more upset. The people behind the desk are not being rude or discourteous, but they're just sort of not really acknowledging him much. One person in particular basically just stopped attending to him at all, avoided eye contact, didn't acknowledge the customer speaking to him, because the customer wasn't speaking, the customer was yelling. Now, he wasn't yelling profanities or anything like that, but he was very, very upset and escalating. He was getting red hot, angry, irate, he was explaining the reasons why, and then he started saying, "You don't have even apologized to us, and why didn't you hold the plane, and you're not doing anything for us, etc." Anyway, so long story short, he kept getting more and more upset. It's the fact here is not that the airline didn't hold the plane. That's not what I'm trying to make here. The point is that the people behind the desk missed an opportunity to turn this into an excellent customer experience by, showing empathy, being compassionate, being polite, being engaging, trying to help him de-escalate and calm him down. There was an attempt by one of the representatives, but it was not delivered in a way that he was willing to receive. It was basically something to the effect of, look, we're not yelling at you, please don't yell at us. Which, okay, good point, logically. And he could have taken the hint that that's not appropriate behavior, but he didn't. He was very upset, and he was going to run through that red light, didn't matter. So, that's what happened, but they missed that opportunity to kind of calm him down. Everyone else around was kind of uncomfortable, it was kind of odd. I mean, no one felt like we were in danger, but he was definitely very mad. And apparently the people who were at the desk at the airline called, I don't know if it's security or the police, people with badges showed up and basically pulled this gentleman off the side and started talking to him. It's amazing. As soon as they were there, he got very calm and very polite, and it was as if nothing had ever happened, and he was just trying to get home, and it was suddenly he was the nicest, most calm, most relaxed person, I think, because the context of the situation, he realized he was going to be in serious consequences if he didn't get himself under control. So two things I learned from this. One is when you have a really stellar brand and then you don't meet the expectations, and then you don't recoup and recover when the clients your customers have a horrible experience, or their perception is that it's a bad experience. That's where customer service really kicks in, and that's where emotional intelligence really kicks in. If you're not being understanding, empathetic, courteous, intuitive, attending, and kind of connecting with the person at an individual level, then you're missing the opportunity to turn this into a stellar experience. Once that guy who was upset got kind of moved aside, and kind of I talked to people behind the desk, and they had to help me. Of course, I still needed to get on another flight, and then they had a computer issue. And it wasn't just one computer. All 4 computers at the desk were not operating, and it wasn't that. The whole system seemed to have some sort of a glitch, so they couldn't print my boarding pass, even though they had said I was on the flight. I didn't, for a little bit of time, I didn't even have any paperwork saying I had a flight for the next morning. And I'm like, look, it's late at night. You're putting me on a flight for 5-something in the morning. I'm probably not going to go home or go to a hotel, because what's the point? It's a couple hours, and I'm not going to be able to sleep anyway. But I don't want to leave here without something showing I'm on the flight. What are you going to do? And eventually they printed something out that was sort of like a receipt. And I was like, all right, fine, this is good enough. I said, is there anywhere I can just wait until the flight happens? And one of the people told me they set up one of the places in the Terminal A gate, whatever it was, a kind of cordoned off area of cots, which was, for those of us who were staying here overnight, I guess, that was very nice. Thank you, airline. I didn't expect that one. What do you call it? But what's really surprised me, the same customer service rep who ignored the angry man later walked down across the terminal to one of the other gates where I was waiting, sitting on the cots, to hand deliver to me my boarding pass. Clearly a very good example of excellent customer service, way above and beyond the expectations. But what was the difference there? I think it was 2 things. One, the representatives of the airline either didn't have the emotional intelligence skill themselves, or training, or skills in how to de-escalate these irate customers. And 2, the customer himself, who was very irate, perhaps he has this tendency, like some people have these leader derailment tendencies that you hear about in some of the research out there on leadership, and they're naturally going to be emotionally volatile and highly excitable, and they can fly off the handle and get really angry and yell and scream and that kind of thing. Some people do that. Okay, fine. But even people who have that tendency, it's a skill. Emotional intelligence is a skill. If he had developed that more himself, he would have better control of his impulses and his emotions and stress tolerance, and be able to calm down, etc. I mean, it's not that he wasn't able to do it. He did it. As soon as the police officers or security officers, whichever they were, showed up, he got real calm and real polite real fast. So clearly the only reason he hadn't done it before is because the situation wasn't demanding it. There wasn't enough leverage and clear consequences for his bad behavior to make him realize that he had to stop. So he was missing the cues because he was so upset, and just running through the red lights when people were saying, look, you need to calm down. And so it created a bad experience for him, and the whole situation kind of created a bad experience for us.